Hello, 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 hello. Happy New Year. I am so excited. Welcome to the seventh season of the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. Y'all, I cannot be more excited to be ushering in 2024 with a little bit of happiness. Today, we're going to be talking all about create your own happiness in 2024. That's our theme. We're going to be getting into it right after this. All right. Happy New Year. If you are here with me live, go ahead and put your name and where you're tuning in from into the chat. Would love to give you a shout out. But y'all, we in a new year. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. I absolutely love a new year because it's a chance of renewal. It's a chance to do some things over, to get it right. It's a chance to look back on the previous year and marvel in everything that you did and you accomplished last year. I don't think we actually do that enough. I think we always focus on what we did wrong or what we didn't get done, but we don't focus a lot on what we did do right. And so I think the new year is a time to do that and just to sit in the moment and just be grateful that you are alive. And so I wanted to, start off by giving you that charge because every last one of us are alive. If you are listening to my voice or watching me, we're alive. And I believe that 2024 is going to be an amazing, amazing year. Kicking it off with a little bit of happiness. So, most of you know that towards the end of the year, in the beginning of the new year, I will sit down, pray, meditate, try to figure out what my theme of the year is. And what's interesting is I try to boil it down to one thing, and it doesn't always work. And so this year I have about three, but the one that we're going to focus on together is creating your own happiness. And if you see my sign, I don't know which way I'm pointing, right there, right there. But behind my head, it has been there for the last, I don't know, 2 years that we've been doing the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show podcast. And I was just drawn to this when I went into the store and I saw this sign, and I'm like, this is absolutely the truth. We have the capability of creating our own happiness. And I guess it resonated with me as well because I'm a positive psychologist. I study happiness, I study resilience, I study purpose and meaning in life. And so it resonated with me because I believe that happiness is the center of all the things that we all want, right? Like all of us want happiness. I think that some of us are misinformed on what happiness truly is in our lives, but we all do want it. I've never come up to a person to say what you want, and they say I want to be sad, and unhappy for the rest of my life. Nope, never said anybody, right? So we all really want that, and I love this because happiness is truly, it impacts us in so many ways. It impacts us physically, it impacts us mentally, it enhances our relationships, it boosts our productivity. We have more resilience when we're happy. I mean, during challenging times, it helps us out when we're happy. And so I love this whole thing about happiness, and we're going to focus on this all year long. We're going to focus on happiness and really walking into that for yourself and finding out what that is for yourself. And so I'm really excited about this. And I think that for me, I've been on a happiness journey for probably the entirety of my life, right? Most of you know I grew up with a mom who's addicted to drugs, and I slept night after night on a couch in a crack house, and there was some real unhappy times. Okay, and so I went on a search for happiness and even success when I was a young girl, and that has never stopped. But I think the thing that I've learned about happiness is it's a journey like anything else, and I've found it along the way. And for a very long portion of my life, longer than I would care to admit, I thought happiness was the responsibility, or my happiness. Let me say that. I thought my happiness was the responsibility of somebody else. So, case in point, my mom. She was solely responsible for my happiness. And she wasn't doing a good job of it in the beginning. And I lived a lot of years blaming her for all of my misfortunes in life because I felt like she was the person that was responsible for making me happy in my life. And I had to work through that. That thing is, woo, child. That was difficult. And so I had to work through that and practice some forgiveness of her. And I'm happy to say, of course, before my mom passed away years ago, I had overcome that. I had forgiven her. We were in a beautiful place. And I miss her every single day, right? Like it's been so many years without her, almost 15, which is insane. But she, I was able to come to a place where I didn't expect for her to have to create my happiness for me. I knew that she couldn't do that. But, but, there's a but. I got married, y'all. I got married to the awesome Dr. Jamil Ramsey, honey. And when I got married, I thought that Dr. Jamil Ramsey should create happiness for me in my life. Okay. Um, and luckily, I overcame that as well before any divorce or anything happened. Shout out to Dr. Jamil Ramsey. I know he's probably watching for 20 years of marriage and putting up with me and everything. But I thought that he was responsible for my happiness, and long and behold, he is not. And so I learned, a valuable lesson, and this is a misconception, and we have a lot of those misconceptions in our lives. Is that your happiness is the responsibility of somebody else's, and it's not. It's not. And the truth is, the longer you blame somebody else for your misfortunes, or you hold on to grudges, you hold on to unforgiveness about whatever, then the truth is you're going to continue to be unhappy about your life, right? It's nobody else's job to make you happy. And that might be a hard pill to swallow. And I know I know it's really hard when it comes to romantic relationships, especially like marriage, because you think with marriage, there is this commitment that you have with each other, and his or her job or whatever, whomever is your responsibility to make sure that they're okay. Yes, but there are boundaries to that. And so I just wanted, as we usher in this year of really digging into what's going to allow us to create our own happiness, we got to understand that happiness is on you. It's on you. But I do want to go over a couple other misconceptions about happiness, because we have them. Another misconception is happiness is a constant. Well, I want to go back first. I want to really actually go over the definition of happiness, because some of you might not know. So a lot of us think that happiness is just this positive feelings, and we always happy and stuff like that. That's part of it, but it's not all of it. The definition of true happiness is your experiences of positive emotions in your life, such as joy, excitement, hope, love, and gratitude. Those are some positive emotions. You can agree to that. But that is mixed with and coupled with your sense of purpose and meaning and belonging. And the reason why this is so important is that You won't truly be happy in your life if you do not feel like you have this purpose in your life. And y'all know me. I wrote a book about purpose. It's called Get Courageous Now, Woman's Guide to Finding Her Own Purpose and Passions in Life. Second edition is coming out this year, y'all. I'm so excited. So get ready for that. But because I have some new and exciting stuff in there. But when it comes to your overall happiness, you have to have those feelings of positivity and joy in your life. And you have to understand your purpose or know that you were made for a purpose. Because I do understand that everybody doesn't necessarily know their purpose in life or feel like they don't know their purpose in life. But that's true happiness. That's the definition of true happiness. And so a misconception of that is that happiness is a constant. But the reality of that is that happiness fluctuates. Emotions are influenced by a various number of factors throughout our life all the time, right? You might think that your purpose is this, and then your purpose changes over here. I think I have an overarching purpose, and I think we all have this overarching purpose. My purpose in life is to help women discover how to create their own happiness and transform their life and career. I do that as a positive psychologist. I do that as a coach. But the vehicle, and I've talked about this in past podcasts and in the book and everything like that. The vehicle in which you do that is different, and that changes all the time, but that doesn't necessarily change your overall purpose. My purpose to help women transform their life and career, child, has been the same since I could talk, since I've been speaking, since I've been teaching, since I've been writing. That has been the same, but the way I do this has been different. Case in point, this podcast hasn't always been around. I think we're going on our second year, seventh series, season, excuse me, seventh season. So I'm doing it differently now. I'm still on social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of that, LinkedIn. I speak in person at conferences all the time, and I write books, right? I also teach as a professor at Life University. And so there's so many beautiful ways in which I disseminate my purpose in life. And there's so many ways that you disseminate your purpose in life. And that those things change. I used to be a missionary going to Africa every year. And I haven't done that recently. And it's not that my heart is not there. It's just that things change in life. And so happiness is not always a constant. And then you may go through seasons in your life where you're sad and where you're depressed. It happens, right? And so you have to understand that to be happy, it doesn't have to be a constant. You just have to understand that those positive emotions of joy and gratitude and pride, and the fact that you have purpose in this life. Another misconception is that external achievements guarantee that you're going to be happy. Woo, child, listen, if that was the case, I think all of us would be happy all the time because we are some powerful people. I know that you've done so much in 2023 that you should be so proud of, but yet you still may not be happy, right? These external things don't make happiness. As a matter of fact, it's the other way around. And I like to tell people that, and this is based on research. Happiness breeds success. You are first, then happy. Then that allows you to be successful. Think about it. When you're happier, you're more productive, right? So I can be super productive. And then, in my life, I can be super happy in my life, which is going to allow me to be more productive in my day to day. When I'm happy, I am so much more productive. Like, I'll give you an example. I love doing the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. It's like one of my favorite parts. It's still work though. It's work. But I absolutely love being here with y'all every week. So I wake up with a sense of purpose to get the message out, and that makes me happy. And so therefore I'm more productive when I do so. I'm able to do the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show. I'm able to, work on the books and stuff like that. So it's not the external things that make us happy. It's that internal, outward facing things that make us happy. And the last misconception I want to talk to you about, and y'all might be like, girl, bye, but money does equal happiness. That's the misconception, is that money equals happiness. I know, because I mean, I've heard it all. Well, give me more money and I can show you how happy I can be. But here's the thing. I'm not saying that you can't get happiness from money, but people think that, if you become a millionaire and all this kind of stuff, you get more money. If you become if you get a raise and all this kind of stuff, you get more money. But beyond a certain point, we call it the hedonic treadmill, the hedonic adaptation. Beyond a certain point, and research really says that beyond about $75,000 a year, your happiness significantly levels out. It just levels out. Like, you are beyond about that point in terms of money, you are no more happier than you were before you got that money. And I know some of you don't believe that, but that is what research says. And you can even say it for yourself. Like, you can even get a gift of I don't know, a designer bag or something like that. When you first get that bag, you might be super super excited about that bag, but after a while that bag is going to become normal to you, and that's just what it is. You may get a new car, a new house, or whatever, and I'm talking about this in terms of money because these are material things. You may get these things, and after a while it kind of evens out. You're back to your baseline of happiness. And so you can't think that, okay, once I get and I keep chasing success, once I get to this level of success, I'm going to be happy, because that is not true. You won't. And I've talked to so many women. As a matter of fact, I talked to one woman asked me a question about this in the last conference that I spoke at. She said, I have so many accolades. I've done so many things. I'm at the top of my game, and yet I'm still not happy. And and we talked about, you are chasing these things, but things don't matter when it comes to happiness. What matters is from within. And do you have a sense of purpose and worth? And if you don't, you will not be happy. Period. So those are some of the misconceptions that I see us fight against all the time. And this year, as we are going towards our own happiness and really learning how to create it, I want us to keep those things in mind. And I want to give you a couple of stats around happiness, because I think that's also important for us to understand. Happiness buffers stress. So let me just tell you, if you stress out, get a little dose of happiness, because it buffers stress and it helps you live a longer life. I'm telling you, when you're less stressed, you live a lot longer. Happiness creates this positive mental well-being. Y'all know most of this life is mental. Everything that we do is mental and it's physical. And when you have that happiness, this mental part can be taken care of, and then you can do some of the rest with the physical part. But it is vital that you understand that we're playing this mental game out here. And I've seen so many women, especially professional women, which are the women that I serve the most, so stressed out about work and just about life. And we don't understand that we have to take a step back sometimes. And then 40% of your happiness is truly determined by your actions, right? Because 50% of your happiness is determined by your genes, meaning you woke up like that. Yeah, you really did, because your genes have determined your happiness. But 10% is determined by your life's circumstances, which you may or may not can change in the moment. I think over time you can change your life circumstances, especially if you can be resilient enough. And then 40% is determined by your day-to-day activities. So listen, the good news is what you do every single day determines your happiness. So what that means is you have the ability to create your own happiness, because you have the ability to really undergo whatever actions you want to in your day-to-day life. And now you might say to me, okay, Dr. Kiki, I work So I'm not in control or in charge of my day-to-day activities. Listen, as long as you keep feeding yourself that story that you're not in control of your own life, then you will be unhappy. I'm just trying to tell you, right? We all got these excuses like, stop it, cut it out. You are in control. You get to choose the job that you work at. You get to choose where you live at. You get to choose all these things. And yes, these things are based on some of the decisions that we've made in our life before, but let's make new decisions. This is going to be a year of us taking responsibility for our life because you have control. You are the master besides God, because y'all know I don't feel like we can do anything without God, right? And I'm not talking about happiness like we are God, right? I depend on the Lord for everything that goes on in my entire life. So he is the source, right? But you, as a vessel, have the ability to create actions that will allow you to be happy. And I think that a lot of times we don't think that we've given our control away. Well, this year, I want you to take your control back because you have every single thing that you need to be happy and successful and to live a life that you want to live, but it is absolutely up to you and nobody else. All right. And so you 40%, right? 40% of people, and then people who practice gratitude, which gratitude are 25% happier than those who don't practice gratitude. How do you practice gratitude? You say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to yourself, thank you to people. You are thankful. You live in a state of thankfulness. That is how you practice gratitude. And I've been trying to do that more and more, especially towards the end of this year, because as I look back on my life, I realize that I've done so many amazing things in life that I haven't given myself a lot of credit for. And so, one of the exercises my husband told me to do, thank you, babe, that I want to give you all to do is to write out all of your accomplishments that you've completed, maybe over the last year, last couple of months, and then put somebody else's name in front of it. And then read it back as if somebody else done it. And you would be like, dang, they tight. They are amazing. They did so many wonderful things in their life. But then realize you're talking about yourself. Give yourself a pat on your back. Okay. And so that's a little exercise he told me to do when he realized I wasn't being as grateful for all the things that God has blessed me with and for all the accomplishments that I have made in my life. And so I want you to do the same thing. So practice that gratitude. It's going to be important. So I want to leave you with three strategies that you can take with you as we usher in the year of creating your own happiness. These are three things that I'm doing and three things that I think that can be very beneficial for your life as we get to the place where we're going to be more happier this year. So the first one is take responsibility for your own happiness. I've already talked about this. It is nobody else's responsibility to make you happy. I mean, I don't even know how to say it anymore. I lived in this so often. I want you to look at your life, and if your life is not what you want or where you want it to be, I really want you to take inventory of how you've played a role in your life, right? Because you are the one constant in your own life. Nobody else is. And so if you are like, you can pick out any subject, any subject. You can say finances, right? If you are not where you want to be in your finances, what role have you played in that? Right? This is real talk, right? We going this year we're gonna get into it. Your relationships, intimate and non-intimate. If you are not where you want to be in your own relationships in life, what role do you play in that? What part have you played in not being where you want to be? How have you shown up? Have you shown up the way you want to? Have you gotten therapy? Have you, gotten out of your own way? Have you stopped self-sabotaging behaviors, right? No longer are we going to blame everybody else and their mama about you not being where you want to be in your relationships. What about your health? If you are not where you want to be in your health, whose responsibility is that? Can't nobody make you eat right. Can't nobody make you go to the gym. Only you can make yourself do those things. And so the moment you take back responsibility of your life is the moment you take back your power, which is the moment you can create your own happiness. So that's number one. That's the first step. We cannot go past go unless we are saying that, you know what? This is my life and I'm responsible. Now, I'm not saying that things haven't happened to you. Let me just tell you this. 2023 was a hard year for some people. It really, really was. I had some really rough times in 2023. But if I had let those times define me and define where I'm trying to go in life, I'd be stuck in 2023, still sulking about everything that went wrong. But I choose not to do that. And I hope you choose not to do that either, because you have the power. Okay. So the second thing that I want you to practice is to practice being in the moment. Another word for this is mindfulness, right? Mindfulness is being in the moment, non-judgmentally. Woo, that's a word right there for y'all, honey. Non-judgmentally. Because here's the thing. A lot of us feel like when we say we're in a moment, but we're judging every bit of being in the moment. If you're judging it, then you're not in the moment, because what you're doing is you're in judgment of the moment, but it's not in the moment, right? Being in the moment is being able to sit and just be and open yourself up to all the things that are happening in the moment. And it's neither good nor bad. It just is. Enjoy if you want to, right? But don't bring the negative judgment into the moment. And I think that most of us don't understand how to do this because we are always looking for what the next thing should be. And we're always looking on how to make the moment so perfect versus being in the moment. The moment can't be perfect if you ain't in it. But we're thinking about, oh my God, this, oh my God, that, this is going wrong, versus enjoying the moment that you have. And so life is like that, right? There are going to be some ups and some downs. But if you don't live in the moment, I'm going to tell you, you're going to wake up the next day and your kid's going to be 20. You're going to wake up the next day like me, and you're going to be becoming a grandma in a couple months. Right? And you might have missed so much of what you were supposed to get, but you were too busy judging it versus actually living in it. So this year, I'm committed to being in and enjoying the moment with myself, number one, okay? With my family and my friends, and just making memories and enjoying. And then the last thing I want you to do is practice work-life harmony. Y'all know I've talked about this. I have a whole course on this called Thrive. And if you go to my website, you can see that. But I really, really believe that we do not understand that we don't have to and should not have to work 24 hours, 7 days a week. Y'all hear me? I mean, I believe in being ambitious because, of course, I am, right? I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get her done, and I know you are too. You gonna get her done. But what is that in the expense of? Is it in the expense of you missing your child's basketball game, or you missing an important event with your spouse? What gives? What actually gives? And so I really started studying on work-life harmony, and I don't say balance because balance is not attainable. It's not. You cannot balance your life because you cannot give equal time, energy, and parts to the things that matter most to you, but you can have harmony amongst those things, meaning you can give them time, the time, energy that they deserve in the moment. And that will change and that will fluctuate over time. And so that's why I say harmony. And so last year, I really started implementing this for myself because I realized that I was going, and I never would give myself a break. I never, I never gave myself a break. So, what I started last year, which I'm doing this year as well, is I'm giving myself a day off every single month, right? One day off to do me, to do nothing, to do whatever I want to do, but it ain't to do work. It's to decompress my mind because if your mind is continuously going all the time, when do you ever get a chance to think? I know, like right now, right? We're in a meeting heavy culture because a lot of us are still virtual or are virtual in our organizations. Some of us have hybrid schedules and stuff like that. And so when it comes to that, we're meeting a lot, right? When you're virtual, all you can do is meet. And so we're meeting, but when do you get a chance to do the work? I literally have to block off time on my schedule to do the work from the meetings, but people want to meet all day, right? And I know you can I know you can agree with me because you're probably going through the same thing. But here's the thing: I decided that I need to be as good to myself as I am to my clients. So I would always tell my coaching clients, I would literally sit with them and make them, because I coach a lot of top level executive CEOs of organizations, and I literally make them pull up their schedule during our coaching session, and I say, okay, what day this month are you going to take off? And they're like, huh, what? I I'm like, listen, if you can't give yourself 8 hours in a 30 or 31 day month, what in the world is happening? And they're like, well, when you put it like that, Kiki, yeah, I'm gonna put it like that because it's the truth. So I gave myself one day off a month and I do what I want to do. And that's completely up to you, but don't let it be work because then that's not a day off. And then last year, for the first time ever, because I've been running my business, the Positive Psychology Coaching University Institute and Kiki Ramsey International full time for probably, I think, the last 6 or 7 years. For the first time, I took off an entire week, the last week in December. I shut it down. I wasn't talking to no clients. I wasn't having no meetings. I wasn't doing anything. And guess what? The world didn't end. My clients, they are still there. It didn't end. And as a matter of fact, it's a beautiful time because the world is kind of like shutting down and really focusing on family and stuff like that. So it was awesome. And I'm going to do it again and again and again and again. It was fantastic. I got to spend time with my children. Um, well, after I got over the flu, which has been going around for everybody as well. But it was awesome. I got a chance to just unplug and not do anything. I mean, there were days that I never even hopped on my computer. I shocked myself, right? I shocked myself. And so this year, I am still very much committed to practicing work life harmony. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to play hard. And I suggest you do the same. Work hard and play hard. My husband was like, we're going to start implementing a month vacation. I was like, yes, let's like, I'm all for it. My husband, no, I love me some vacation. Okay. And so I love that for us. I love that for you. And this is going to be a year that things change in your favor because you are going to create it. You are going to create it. I'm so happy. This is our theme. And so I'm really proud that you have been on this journey with me. I want to say thank you. You've made the Dr. Kiki Ramsey Show podcast a absolute success. When I go on and I look at the numbers, I'm like amazed at how many of you download these sessions and are really taking it in. And I want to, ask you to share it with a friend, share it with somebody who you care about, and potentially share it with somebody who you don't care about, because that can help them create their own happiness as well. But please do so. Also, I have a really cool and awesome surprise for you. Of your happiness 7-day happiness challenge. It's a 7-day challenge that you will join. By doing so, you will also join the Happy Women Lead Academy, which is a membership program that I have for women and professional women, so that I can support you in your professional and personal development around happiness and really growing in your career and your life. And so, but go on there, join the challenge. It is absolutely free for you to do so. And you'll be in the group. We're talking all about happiness. You'll get access to a video and a challenge every single day for the next 7 days. And I can guarantee you that this is going to create a little bit more happiness in your life. And with that, I want you to go out and remember that you have the ability to create your own happiness. All right, now, peace.